Hello students, in this particular video lecture, I will discuss about the characteristics of Lycophyta, the Lycopsida. So it includes both the fossil members like the Lepidodendron and certain living members like Lycopodium, Selaginella, etc. And the history usually indicates that these group of plants had developed during the Devonian period of the Paleozoic era. And these group of plants are also called as the club mosses or the spike mosses. Now the Lycopsids are also called as the club mosses or the spike mosses because of their club or spike shaped strobili, and it has got small leaves which resembles the mosses. So these Lycophyta have two major living genera like the Lycopodium and the Selaginella. They have sporophytes with microphylla, and unlike that of the Xylophytales where true roots was absent and rhizome along with hair-like rhizoids were present, in case of these particular group of plants, true roots are present, which performs the functions of anchorage and absorption of nutrients from the soil, and along with that the stems are also present, which we will study in the upcoming slides. Now as you can see here in this picture, it is a Lycopodium which are also referred to as the ground pines, and they grow on the forest floors. The stems are simple or branched, and the leaves are usually less than 1 centimeter long. Now in this particular slide I have shown the pictures of the two living genera of this group, the Selaginella and the Lycopodium. Now if you focus first upon Selaginella, the left side is a diagrammatic representation and on the right side is an actual Selaginella plant. So if you first start with the root, you can see that the roots of the young sporophyte is basically like a primary root, and others are adventitious, and these adventitious roots are usually at the tips of the rhizophores. Aerial roots have also developed, which are like certain cap-like structures, and cutinized epidermal cells are also present, and these roots usually enters into the soil, anchors the plant to the substratum and adheres to it and absorbs the nutrition from the soil and then sends it back to the entire plant. Now as you can see in the diagrammatic representation of Selaginella, certain rhizophores are present, and in these some of the species, these certain leafless and colorless branches arises from the prostrate stem. Near the point of branching, they usually grow downwards. As you can see, they grow downwards and have a group of adventitious roots, and these are also known as adventitious roots, and they have dichotomous branches at their tip. Now when if you look at the stems are usually green, dorsiventral and prostrate with short erect branches, and the branches are arranged dichotomously. Now when you focus on the leaves, the microphylla are present. These are basically like leaves are small and single veined, and certain ligules are also present, like in the next diagram if you see, certain ligules are also present, so which are small outgrowths on the adaxial side of the leaf near the base. And so these are certain structures which are present in the Selaginella plant. And in case of Lycopodium, the plant body is usually sporophytic. The sporophytes are divisible into root, stems and leaves. The roots, like that, are similarly, they are adventitious, dichotomously branched and small, and the stems in certain species of Lycopodium, they are usually erect, and in certain cases they are pendant, while it is prostrate with upright branches in certain cases. And some of the other characteristics of Lycopodium are also like the stem is thickly covered with many leaves, like as you can see here, and the leaves are simple, small, they're sessile, and each leaf usually contains single unbranched midveins. The leaves are usually heterophyllous in certain species, and it has been seen that in the anatomy that leaves contain many equally distributed stomata. Now, if you see here the structure of Selaginella, here a longitudinal section of the strobulus has been prepared, and on the right hand side you can see the structures of mature megasporangium and mature microsporangium. Now the microsporangia, as you can see here, they are usually small, stalked, oval and varying in their shapes. And you can see here that there is a outer wall which acts as a protective covering. Within that, the microspores are enclosed and it is supported on a stalk-like structure. And in case of megasporangium, they are stalked. They are larger in size than that of the microsporangium and also present at the base of the strobulus, and the spores and the megaspores are usually larger as compared to that of the microspores. So in this case, or like in cases of these sporangia, both of these types of sporangia consist of two layers of sporangial wall surrounding the tapetum and sporogenous tissue, and the tapetum is usually developed from the innermost layer of the sporangial wall. And in order to release the spores, both the sporangia, they usually undergo a vertical section, or a vertical cleft is formed in the wall which allows the spores to escape. Now, as a whole, if you see the characteristics of Lycopsida or Lycophyta, we can usually see that the plant body is sporophytic and can be differentiated into the root, stems and leaves. The leaves are small, that is a microphyllous, simple, with a single midvein. They are usually spirally arranged and sometimes in the opposite fashion, or sometimes they are even arranged in whorls. And in some cases the leaves are ligulate. As you can see, certain ligule-like structures are present, and they are usually present at the base of each leaf. And the vascular tissue may be in the form of a plectostele or a siphonostele. Leaf caps are completely absent, and the sporangia, as you can see, they are quite large in size and they develop on the adaxial surface of the leaves. The sporophylls are loosely arranged and they form the strobulus. Certain members are homosporous, like that of the Lycopodium, while others are heterosporous, as they have two types of spores only, the megaspores and the microspores. So they are referred to as the heterosporous, as in the case of Selaginella. The antherozoids are biflagellate, and the gametophytes, which are in the form of prothallyi, are usually formed by the germination of spores. So these were certain characteristics of the group Lycophyta.